Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're here with another episode of Durarara. I believe that's how you say it. I never really, I don't know where the name comes from actually. They've never said it in the show, right? So, is it like a sound effect for something? Is it like the motorcycle sound, or I don't know. I'd actually share that with me. Next comment somebody makes. Speaking of which, first thing we got to do here is thank Master Detective for once again sponsoring another episode of Durarara. This is one of the I don't say it's the most interesting show. It is one of the very interesting shows. It's one of the most mystery-filled show. Like there have been lingering questions about what's going on back when it was both me and Griffin responding to these, and now that it's just me, the dumber half of what remains. These mysteries are just becoming more and more tangent. Let's say, sorry, not tangent. I meant tangible. So yeah, I am very, very deeply trying to figure things out. I think everything has to. Okay, I'm not even in the status thought section yet, but the idea here is that there's multiple angles that everything is coming at me from. You have the school angle where all these characters, not even all these characters, 75% of these characters are intermingled at the school environment where it seems like if not stuff is happening because we have sorry, I'm going to bring up the board here. We have this dude, sorry, okay, I couldn't see my mouse for a second. This dude, Takashi, who seems to be instigating some shit in the school environment, whereas nobody else is, which seems to imply that something going on there that because I believe last episode we found out that he was having some sort of, I want to say affair, but that's not quite right. She was a student. I mean, she was a student, and I don't quite know what he is. He seems like faculty, but he was doing something with a student, and for some reason the student had to leave. So he's doing janky shit at the school, and a bunch of the consideration I have had for why people are colored, uh, in the show and grayscale elsewhere, everything breaks down when I consider who's colored and who's not at the school. God, that sounds awful to say. Who is monotone and who is not? Okay, there's no good way. I'm never going to figure this one out. Otherwise, you have the people on the outside, which seems to come down to gang warfare on one side, because just last episode we saw uh, Masumi here having to deal with gang violence. It's come up before. Um, they were yellow. Sorry, I don't remember the yellow gang's name. It was yellow something. But the yellow whatevers went off to attack Basami, and they caught the ire of uh, Izuya here. Izuya, who was then in a fight with Shizo, who then, when Izuya got away, ended up getting into a fight with Simon. That was a couple episodes back, but that was gang related, right? Not even considering for a moment that the fight between Shizu and Simon seemed to also be in the same realm as we have to consider Celti, which is supernatural in a way. This dude lifted a vending machine, I believe it was, and threw it. He's got super strength, and Simon stood toe to toe with him. And we know Simon don't talk about it because last episode, Dennis said Simon don't talk about it. So I'm not quite sure where to go with that one. It does not seem like Izia has supernatural abilities. He just seems really quick with like a knife, but I'm not sure. Because then we get that episode where he contacts, what's her name? Where is she at here on the board? Rio? When Rio is thinking about committing suicide because she's very in her own brain about the responsibilities of her parents to her vis-a-vis their relationship with each other. It's very weird. And he goes off on this whole you humans are all so interesting or boring, depending. It like tries to convince her to jump off a building, and then when she does, convinces her not to. Or no, I think she does it on her own, and then Celty saves her, and then gets carried off to some other thing. And then, I mean, considering Celty for a moment, the actual supernatural creature, she's a Doulahan, right? She's a Doulahan who lost her head, turned her horse into a motorcycle, and is now searching for her head. That's where we had the whole arc there between Shinra and her, and the painter guy who remembers the story of seeing somebody who's probably Celty from the past in Ireland. And then we had the whole story of Celty traveling there with Shinra's parents and himself on the boat, and they let them do surgery on her. There's so much interconnectivity between so many people. I guess mainly the new people from last episode. We have her, the hospital-bound girl. I know you guys have said about the naming thing, but again, I take these images off of behind the voice actors, which literally has no information about the show except for their names. And I'm not gonna lie to you and say, oh, I didn't see their names. I saw their names when I was getting their character images. So the names just don't help me all that much, other than the fact that the reporter guy that we saw who was talking to Dennis, I could not remember who else he talked to that episode, went home to this girl who I would have thought was his daughter anyway. So the fact that now I see that they have the same last name doesn't really affect all that much. Otherwise, Dennis, friend to Simon, because reporter guy talks to him about it, and they work at the same restaurant. This girl here was talking to Izia at the very end of the episode. However, I mean, they seem to have a friendly relationship, right? However, turns out that she is also Masami's ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend. He is hard to read, and I have called him out on this. I think the last time me and Griff reacted together, it's hard to tell. I'm not sure. He seems to have a treacherous past, I want to say. I think that word's only coming into my brain because I just recently saw that the name of the opening song is Treacherous something. I can't remember what it's called, but I have to believe that if it's referring to anybody right now, it's referring to him because the last episode, no, not last episode, episode before last, seemed to be all about what the hell's going on with him. The only other person who's missing from this board, and I guess I could have just put in a blank square, was the mysterious monster that was attacking the dude with the suitcase at the beginning of the last episode. The one who cut Celty, and then Celty was afraid because her wound was acting weird. So, second supernatural creature. Anyway, I have no idea who they are. Obviously, they didn't show up on behind the voice actor thing. I don't even think they had lines, so it's either that they, one, never talk, or two, they are one of these people. Obviously, I cannot avoid them at the moment thinking she's got glowing red eyes in the picture they decided to give her. I guess maybe in that way, if it turns out to be her, I'm spoiled, but I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, nobody I can directly tie to it. And the fact is, I actually think it might not be her, only because immediately following that scene, there was the whole chat room scene, and I even wrote down those lyrics from before on my notepad here. The I love hope, strong, strong, I am I, so I hope, because hope is strong, people, human love, because hope is, all that shit happened. If is to believe, I have no idea the timing of these things, but when that attack was happening, those words were being typed in, so would think that's her. Other than that, I think I only have one follow up thought, which was it only just occurred to me when I was fixing the board with this that Masumi's girlfriend was in the hospital talking to Isaiah. Isaiah, who we saw talking to Rio earlier in the series about bringing people up to the roof to see if they would jump. is Masami's girlfriend in the hospital because she's one that did? Because we only know that Rio is kind of safe because Celti was there, right? So, Celti wasn't there. And we have no idea why she's in the hospital unless it's just something that I forgot. And as I've covered a number of times now, I'm kind of an idiot with a fairly bad memory. That's why I do these board things. So, if I've missed that too, I guess also let me know. Otherwise, I don't think there's much else to go over here. No comments. So, otherwise, I guess one more time, thank you again, Master Detective, for sponsoring this series. It is a very interesting show, and it makes me wonder what Bakano is about. Because as I understand it, they're in the same world, but not in the same time, or something like that. So, I don't know. Maybe one of these days. Other than that, though, I say we go ahead and we get on into it. I don't know if it's the fact that that I only hear the song once a month versus the shows that we watch here on the channel that I hear maybe, I don't know, 12 times a month. But this one remains a banger. I feel weird saying that because I don't use that word in any other context ever anywhere else. It's a good song, and it remains a good song every time I've heard it. I'm also happy that Zaya wins in the opening because he's, apparently my chosen guy. Only again because I think I mentioned this before. I've used his art in tabletop games for characters. Oh shoot, were those 3 girls part of the dollars? The Yangiro girls? I want to say that they were, and the weird crotch grabby guy who gets his ass kicked by... Not Zaya, he doesn't get his ass kicked by the other guy? Along with the whole gang? After they throw like a bottle at the back of his head? Did he get fired as bartender? Did that happen, or am I just making that up? Oh, we're gonna chase. I'd be thinking that looks like the Kidnappers van from episode 1. Oh, they're in a gang. I was like, why would they be following or why would they be chasing somebody? Because they're just a bunch of manga friends, right? It is them. So it was Zaya's kidnapping friends versus the manga friends, which are now part of the dollars. Okay, doing that thing again. Experimenting on humans, though, that's
正確には友達の友達ですけど、私はその子に一度も会ったことがないですから。田中太郎さんの友達が失踪ですか。 そういえば最近よく人が消えるっていうか失踪事件の噂多いですよね。カンナさん噂マニアですね。私が聞いた噂じゃ消えてるのは地方から家出してきた子たちや不法滞在の外国人。つまり消えても
I'm
後が
horrible
残ら
with
ない人たちです
voices.
けどね。
So the chat room thing gets me every time, but I'm not
そういう
able
人
to
た
fully
ちが
follow it.
池袋から渋谷の間で大勢消えてるみたいですよ。しかも一度消えたら二度と見つからない。本当ですか？中にはもっと怖い噂もありまして
So if I had
ね。
to guess, I would say this is Masumi's voice.
絶対に見つからないのはダラーズがどっかで人間の体を処理して食ってるからだって。
ナイスサービ看板。
ここか。情報屋が言ってた仕入れ先ってのは。
確かに不法滞在者がどっさり住み着いてそうっすね。
よーし、早いとこ
I don't think she's somebody we've ever seen before. 'Okay, so Isaiah's cronies are well known for messing with people, I guess. Okay, the Ganguro girls that I thought were part of the dollars.
あの手を狙うとこないだみたくあれが出るかも。
首なしか。
今日のところはこの辺で手を打とう。
あ、どうした？
なんかどっかに不具合あるんじゃないっすか？
まああれも人間だろ。
じゃあ中年親父は訳あり品、値引きも覚悟ってことで。おい。
いいよ、飯の種。
私は日本人です。あなたたちと同じです。でも横外人っぽい言われますね。ぽこ悲しい。たまにいじめありますね。
I guess this plays better if you know the society.
飯代にもならないんじゃね？
てか、なんだよぽこ悲しいって。
だからね、ユータみたいな弟系のお助け妖精キャラがいないとただのド M な神フェ
But
チ
I don't see in any other media
弟系っていうか女性
foreign
少年ですけど
people
ね。俺
doing
は
that sort of
妹系お
thing.
助け妖精キャラが欲しいっす。あ、お姉さん系でも OK っす。
飯の時その
Or at
話
least
は
if I
許さ
do,
な
I
い。
just don't understand it as
友達
well.
ご飯行こう。ご飯
ああ、
いやいやいや、門田さん相変わらずすげえ職人技っすね。
俺の部屋より広いトイレだ。
コンセプトは穏やかなくつろぎを提供するワンランク上のキャバクラだそうだ。
あ、急いだ方がいいよ。今日は月に一度の日だからね。
おう、
誰？
カズターのからだ。皿割れた。
買えよ新しい皿。
100均100均。
私日本人。
Is that his like alert message for help?
ひょっとして誰かにさらわれたの間違いだったりして。
考えすぎだろ。
Well, kind of it is, I guess.
眠らせろ。
Oh, it's like that joke about standing around with the chloroform for too long and knocking yourself out.
大丈夫だよ。あんな噂嘘。そうだよ。ハリマさんは失踪したわけでさらわれたと決まったわけじゃないし、ハリマさんが拉致されて処理されたなんてこと絶対ね。
なぜに具体表現？ポケツ。
はい、にぎり3人前ね。大丈夫、うちの寿司ネタは魚ね。半額の日も人間でない。でもね、
続くのかこの話題。サイモン、表の登りがぶち折れてたぞ。
I mean, I don't think It's not like it's a
マジ
date.
に行こうね。
You can talk realistically if you're not on a date,
た
right?
だの寿司はね、半額の日魚でない。人間ね、人間。
登りね。
怖いね。
車いた車にし
Oh,
ません？
they didn't even go there. They're not gonna rescue that guy.
イタリアの車は値段高いだろう。外車だから。
瀬戸内の車庫ください。
ハマチとシマアジ。
Oh, hey.
危ないっすね。
We haven't seen him except that one episode.
一瓶丸ごとぶちまけ
He's got as much screen time as needed that time, too.
ダメっすよ。俺眠すぎっす。
納品するまで寝るんじゃね
Wasn't
え
he like his legal representative or something?
まぶたが。
前見ろ
すいません。
なんだ
この人眠いのもとね、その辺に捨てるとみんな良くなるね。
カズターノ、お寿司持ってきたよ。
I'm confused.
おい。
Isn't the idea that the phone is broadcasting or something, so when you want it, always around you?
お、なんだこりゃ。
So they can trace you?
さっきのメール、皿が割れたんじゃなかったんすよ。
ああ。
丼っすよ。
ドタチン。簡単漢字変換。
カズターノのやつ。
カズターノは人間狩りの連中にさらわれたんだ。もう二度と見つからねえ。カズターノなしで
I
俺
do
は
like that we're bringing up those three guys from the first episode again. That everybody is constantly involved in something.
俺たちは皆、トグサにとってカズターノがどれほど大切な人間かよく分かっていた。カズターノの代わりは誰にも務まらねえ。カリサワにも、ユーマサキにも、俺にも、ちょいと寂しいがな。メールが来た時にさらわれたんなら、そう時間は経ってない。連中がカズターノを納品しちまう前に見つけ出して取り戻すんだ。
けどどうやって？
知ってるよ。僕、奴らの車を見たよ。
ハシム。
来た。最強弟系お助け妖精キャラ。
Okay. At least they're gonna be somebody who sticks around, I guess.
見つけたら中の外国人を解放すればいいんだね。
ああ、連中がいつどこで商品を上に引き渡すのかはわからない。だが一刻も早く助け出したいんだ。
オーケー、黒いバンね。ナンバーわかる？
あ、言うぞ。
ああ、ちょっと待って。いいよ。
ありがとな、はじめ。
寿司食べられる？
じゃあな。
I guess I'm confused because I thought that if there's human experimentation happening, it was gonna be Shinra doing it, and they're going to him for help. So maybe his dad still in the area doing
ナ
that?
ンバーはこれ。気をつけてね。
I mean, funny enough, it's the exact person they don't want to run into.
まあ下っ端の下っ端だね。消えても足のつかない人間をさらっては。
I don't think they're doing this work for Isaiah. That doesn't make any sense.
いろんなことに人間が素
Not
材
for
と
what
し
we
て使
know
わ
of
れ
Isaiah,
る
which is next to nothing.
まるで共食いだ。今月は下請けの納入数が少ないわね。
はあ、最近は素材も用心深く。
言い訳は結構よ。数字を上げられない下請けは切りなさい。
ですが。
それともあなたが素材になります？下がっていいわ。
I don't recognize him or her. Recognize him though.
政治。
Celti's head. So how old is that guy? Because he was in high school? Whatever the equivalent school is that they're in?
バカしら。
Oh, fucking hell.
俺たちはカズターノをさらった黒いバンを必死に探した。きっと助け出すという思い。
Did they do it on purpose though, or was that a mistake?
思いつく限りのことを試したが、カズターノの行方はようとして知れなかった。
The deniability that he can say he sent Celty out, but she didn't
もう
find
二度
him.
とカズターノのあの懐かしいフレーズを聞けないのではないか。ガキの頃によく聞いたあの懐かしいフレーズ。大人になってもう聞くことはないと思っていたフレーズ。
けないかけあるよ。
そう、カズターノは今や絶滅しつつあるなりわいの男。そしてトグサはそのカズターノに人生の最も大きな喜びを委ねていた。トグサの永遠の女神、ヒジリベ・ルリ。
Okay, that
ト
aligns.
グサが全く一方的に愛を捧げている女
I
神。
was wondering why,
カズターノ
what
は
their attachment was to this guy.
女神に最も近い席をゲットしてくれるトグサの魔法使いだ。トグサのために何としてもカズターノ
I
を
thought a
救出しなく
foreigner would be the
タチ
ticket scalper.
何喋ってんの？
しかも誰と？
と。いや、
思ったんだけど、こっちからカズターノの携帯にかけてみるってのはどうかな？
向こうの連中と交渉できるかもしれないっすよ。
I mean, at least that perfectly aligns with him. More so than them being part of the dollars.
なんだお前。
その声ドタジンだ。
そうそう、通りかかったら人が寝ててさ、携帯鳴ってるから代わりに。あ、ここは南池袋大正圏の斜め前。だってさ、今日ロシア寿司のサービスデーじゃん。
Oh, this fight.
いいぜ池袋に来るんじゃね
ああ、しずちゃんに見つかった。じゃあね。
This is the most. I find their dichotomy to be the most interesting thing. The mystery is making me bleed from the head, but that's the fun part.
そいつはよせ。永遠の眠りにつくだろう。
けど急がないとカズターノが。
そうっすよ。納品されたら処理されちまいますよ。どうするんすか？
俺がこいつの
Yeah, I guess he's not gonna wake up anytime soon if he's soaked in the chloroform.
もうすぐ引き渡し時刻っすね。
上の人が来るからよく見てろよ。
うん。
私日本人ですね。あなたたちそろそろ間違いに気づくね。
まだ言い張る。
そんじゃ戸籍にも日本人って書いてあんだろうな。
そこポイントね。戸籍は空襲で燃えたよ。
年いくつだよおめえは。
I used to firebomb as he means World War II.
あ、金沢、目覚めた？
悪い、今からそっち行くわ。てかさ、引き渡し場所どこだっけ？
たくしょうがねえな。
So is that whole building like a place where foreigners that are like don't have like legal status live? Is that what it's supposed to be?
覚えとけよな。 眠いよ。
行くぞ。俺たちがダラーズに入った経緯は実にシンプルだった。もともとトグサとユマサキとカリサワは気がついたら
Yeah, I
俺の
guess this
周
is
り
the
に
part
集
that
ま
I
ってい
need.
た。
I need to figure out why they're in the
俺み
dollars.
たいな人間のどこがいいのか。まったく奇特な連中だぜ。ある日俺の携帯に一通のメールが来た。ダラーズに加わらないか。何の束縛もルールもない。ただダラーズと名乗るだけでいい。そんな奇妙な誘い。しばらく前からちょいと変わった組織だと噂になっていたダラーズ。最初は誰かのいたずらかと思ったが、
Okay.
試しに承諾
Love
して
to
み
be
ると、
more involved than that.
翌日 URL とパスワードが送られてきた。ログインしてみれば、ダラーズのサイトに俺のハンドルが表示されていた。俺も含めてメンバーの誰一人としてリーダーの姿を見たことがない。組織の中にはいくつもの小組織があり、
So they're in the
それ
dollars
ぞれが
because
立ち社会を
someone
形
asked
成してい
them,
るのに、
hey, you want
一
to
番
be in
上
the
だけが見
dollars?
当たらない。俺は上がいない以上、誰かの下についたという感覚はない。だが、この奇妙な組織体系を作ったのが誰なのか、気にならないと言ったら嘘になる。 ここだけの話。実はあいつじゃねえかと
I guess it's one way to create a large organization without any
あの無礼な
commitments.
やっぱ大トロ。探し物はそっちの方角じゃないんだけどな。
ごめん、セルティ。
Well, you know her number though. You can call her back and let her know.
ま、お勤め品だろうな。
かな。
Also, I'm just thinking now it couldn't have been a building for foreigners that are leaving illegally, because the Gonguru girls were there, and they're part of the school. Which goes right back to my theory about everything at the school breaking all my other theories.
上の人かな。
多分な。え？なんだよ。
カスターノカスターノ今助けるからな。
そう簡単に行くかな。
シャラくせ。
お、レトロなセリフ。
シャラってなんすか？
It's funny they make fun of him for being old.
首なし。値引き覚悟で親父にしたのに。もうしません。もうしません。
なんだ。
カスターノどっちの。
あ、逃げる。
It's weird that they're still chasing them. I mean, I guess they're just pissed. I just thought maybe with Celti showing up on the scene that they wouldn't have to anymore. Hey! Ah, dog followed descent.
さ、商品をどこに納入してんのか、さっさと吐いた方がいいぜ。
いやいやいや、拷問なしで測れちゃつまんないじゃないですか。ま、一冊選んでくださいよ。
本の内容にちなんだ拷問にするから。
あ、おい、お前ら、なんでもいいが、こないだみたいに車の中でガソリン使うなよ。
ガソ
リンの朝の儀式するね。
Holy shit. It felt like it was a joke, but you actually pulled out tongs and a lighter.
Yagiri 製薬ね。
やらく立派なところだな。
Yagiri, do I know that name?
本当にここなんすかね。人体実験してるの。
Note to self, check Yagiri on the
俺たちは
board.
半信半疑だった。少なくとも表から見る限りは。だが、物事に大抵表と裏ってやつがある。ことにこの池袋って町には思いもつかないような裏が山ほどある。さて、どっかで飯でも食ってっか。
I mean, definitely we've at least encountered two new, very important people, considering they have Celti's head.
お金はいくらでも好きなように使えばいいのよ。
ありがとう、姉さん。
じゃあね、聖司。
行こう。
So did they do something to her?
これが世に言うカズターの
I mean, just because you have somebody's immortal decapitated head doesn't mean that any headless person is related.
ハッピーだぜ。
Oh god, this was a huge setup episode. And I am too dumb for this shit. Hold on. I can still see the show here even while I'm looking at the board over here that you guys can't see. So know that I'm not missing anything. Is anybody named Agiri? Yeah, of course Seiji Agiri, but is anybody else? Anybody else I might have known? No, just Seiji. And obviously that was, he had the photograph on her desk of her and Seiji. Obviously that makes it a little bit better, I think, that he's just the brother, because obviously they didn't look old enough to be like in a relationship where they'd have that kind of photo. I don't know if I'm gonna even make that sound right when I say it out loud, but so I'm assuming she's the older sister and he's a younger brother. I have no idea what's going on with Neck Girl. Has she always been there? In the outro? Is that gonna be the guy? Nope, that's him. He wasn't there though. So at least 3 important new people?
うるせえ、うぜえ、ムカつく。怒りを抑えられねえと体が勝手に動いちまう。自分がどうなろうとお構いなしだ。次回、国士無双。だが俺は暴力が嫌いだ。
Okay, cool. I mean, next episode looks like it's gonna be a good one. Because we get the 2 guys whose fights I always love to see going at it again. Best in the land. I'm going to assume that Simon is going to show back up again. Because I'm assuming Best in the Land is going to be reference to the sushi shop. Who just had a sale, by the way, so I would assume we're going to go a little bit back in time again to see what they were doing overnight. But yeah, obviously we also got the 3 girls here showing up at whatever rundown ramshackle that place was. I mean, obviously either these 3 guys here show up there all the time to just pick up people, which is why all those people were afraid and ran for it. Or they're there illegally anyway, and obviously just had to get away rather than being caught there. I don't know. It's confusing. Obviously, their main connection, though, is to Isaiah, who knew that Celti was going to be going in the wrong direction, but then Celti was going in the right direction. So maybe he didn't know what Celti was up to, really? That or she went the wrong way, turned around off screen, and then went the right way. And, yeah, Tom. Tom was the guy I was talking about before that we saw one time walking with Shizu down the street. I swear he said something about legal representation, and then we hadn't seen him ever again. And now we saw him for half a second, and he got exactly as much screen time. And apparently he is going to be in next episode too, so... yeah, and I kind of thought that when we were seeing human experimentation, it was going to be, what's his name? Shingen over here? Shinra's dad? Maybe it is. We've never seen his face. However, that guy looked like that girl's age. And Shinra's dad should look considerably older, unless he has figured out immortality or something. I mean, technically he operated on a, I'm not going to say immortal, but a supernatural creature, Celti. And if they still have her head somehow, because clearly we saw her head there, so it seems like a possibility that maybe they figured stuff out. Maybe they're tied to Shizu, super strength wise, or Simon. I don't know. Simon, I half expect to show up and be like, "Yes, I am part of Russian super soldier program," something like that. Obviously, I brought up Takashi, but he had nothing to do with this episode. Unless that was Takashi, and I am bad with his face. If I'm as bad as faces as I am with names. If that was Takashi, then I don't even know. Mika, the whole neck thing, and the fact that Seji's sister works at the Human Experimentation Company, not a good look. It really looks like you may have had this girl abducted, did something to her, and now are just abusing privilege or something. I fucking don't know. He is a mystery, and the mystery is not looking good on an outside perspective. Other than that, though, I don't see much else jumping out at me. Not right now, anyway. Of course, I am going to do the second watch through, taking notes again. Everything I typically do on a solo recording, so don't worry about that. If there's more to be noteful for, you'll see it right now, after the notes.
裏切りの夕焼け厄介に絡みつく汗を切り裂くようにしてマシンは叫ぶ歌うようにローラークラウド無口な妖精 にいるブローアブロー償いは砕けた愛のかけら朝日は昇る Yeah ビルの谷間今信じれば変わるのさ無意味じゃないあの明日朝日は昇る Yeah 闇を抜けて今感じれば見えるのさ無意味じゃないあの夢も俺たちには見えてるものがあるきっと誰にも奪われないもの無意味じゃないあの糸が
ダラーズ
パンツを見せながら空を飛ぶピピルピルピル天使だよ。
お前量間違えんなよ。目覚まさなかったら上がりがガクッと下がんだからな。
ダラーズについちゃ俺たちだって詳しいわけじゃない。知ってることは全部話してやるがな。
カラーギャングらしいんだけど、どんな色なのかもわからねえ。電撃文庫の新刊が出たもんで、
いろいろ用に10冊ぐらい見つからったの。
いろいろ用にね。
朝日は昇る Yeah 水平線を今信じれば変わるのさ無意味じゃないあの光
Alright, we're back from note taking. There is a lot to break down. I feel like in every one of these episodes, there's the part of me that you see in the first half where I'm just reacting, like I'm just watching stuff and voicing the thoughts that come out of my head. And it's like, okay, this is just a surface show. I can watch stuff, don't gotta pay much attention. And then it's always like, there's so much depth to the show. Like, every episode that passes by solves maybe, I don't know, 60% of the questions. Not even that, maybe 30% of the questions left by the last episode. And preps you to wait for and look for the solutions in the next episode. And the next episode answers the 30% of a previous episode's questions and then preps you for more. So I'm like swimming through the mysteries of the show, just creating theories with no solutions in sight. Obviously, we've been introduced to a couple of new characters, by the way. So next time I do one of these, obviously I'll be updating the board then. Unlike normally, when I would do one of these, I would also show you me updating the board there too. But new characters means I have to go through and get their pictures and everything and set them up on the thing. So next time is when you'll see that happen. Otherwise, thoughts for this time. Is everyone going to turn out to be a part of the dollars? Given the wide net method of recruiting and no one knowing who the rest of the people are other than their screen names, entirely possible gang members could be double dipping. Also, if they recruit via email spam, I could see the old teacher from the school just joining up by accident. It at least fits in a theory better than anything else so far. That I've had. Sorry, I realized I didn't write this down. For who shows up in color and who shows up in grayscale. Because everyone at the school seems to be, so maybe it was emailed to everyone from the school. Oh, right. Now that I think about it, though, the Russian tourists were in color too. It'd be really weird if they, for some reason, got email spammed this. I'm getting closer, though. I feel like I'm getting closer. It explains the old teacher. It does not explain the tourists. So, Seji's sister is involved with a group that experiments on humans, or is at least heavily implied to, due to the narrative framing of the episode. Like, it's hard to not read the fact that we flash to Celti's head after talking with Seji's sister. Also, the fact that it seems like she's talking about the people. We need humans, basically. We need humans to experiment on. She doesn't use those words, but she does talk in the way of somebody who needs a lot of resources. and is not getting it from people, and because we're jumping back and forth between the three guys who are trying to kidnap this girl. Sorry, this girl. My head's still talking, thinking about Ryu. God, what is his name? The ticket scalper. Castano. These guys trying to kidnap Castano, and we're going back to her, and she's talking about people who can deliver on the supply, implying that there's a bunch of different people who are kidnapping people and bringing them test subjects, right? So, I would be more surprised to find out that she's not doing that than otherwise. The people that go missing fall right into the camp of people Isaiah was preying on in the first episode, but also mentioned foreigners, which led us to Castano this episode. We've only seen a few other foreigners in the show so far. Simon, for one. I think the painter is Japanese and just went to Ireland and then came back, and he's not Irish and then came to Japan. So there's also those Russian tourists that Simon talked to in a previous episode. I wonder if that is how we end up dragging Simon into all this, right? Find out that the Russian tourists are actually in danger, and then Simon goes, I don't know, feels national pride? I don't know if he considers himself Japanese or not. Either way, maybe, right? Because we know he's involved in next episode. Let's see. If Isaiah is involved in this, I have to wonder if that is why Shinzu is constantly picking a fight with him and telling him to stay out of. I'm sorry, I've never actually said this name out loud. Telling him to stay out of Ikebukuro. That it's not a turf thing, but that he's trying to protect everyone in his own way. Like I said before, if people are experimenting on humans, that would serve to explain his super strength and also lend to him some inside knowledge. Plus, he was the one that turned Celti around back in the right direction, even when Isaiah pointed out to himself that she was going the wrong way. Meaning he has some sort of information about what's going on. Otherwise, I have no other way to explain all of that had happened. It implies Isaiah knows what's going on. It implies that Shinzo knows what's going on. No idea why the Ganguro girls were in that hotel, though. They seemed to be alone in that room, so not as though they were entertaining anyone. It could have been that they are down on their luck, but they carried themselves as such higher class in previous episodes that we've seen them in. I imagine that this is a scene that will come back in a later time jump if we ever cover them again. I mean, the thought that comes to my mind is, oh god, what was the name of that song that was big in the late 2000s online? Uh, sorry, he's the guy who's dancing around all crazy and it's in a foreign language, and god, this is not coming to my head. Gangnam Style, Gangnam Style, Gangnam Style? Anyway, the point being is that it's all about people who live on the outskirts of, I can't remember the name of the city either. It's a South Korean place where very expensive, it's all very expensive, and they all pretend like they're from there. And so even if you're not of means, you like ruin yourself trying to look as though you are richer than you are. It's entirely possible these Ganguro girls are extremely poor, but carry themselves as though they are higher class. It's just, I don't know. It seems so odd, but I guess that's kind of the point of it. So I don't have the social IQ to be able to spot that or call it out. It's also entirely possible that there was somebody in that room who ran when the three guys showed up, and we just saw them stay in the room because they don't care or they're not. I don't know. We do know that they were kidnapping people like that too, and that just this time they were afraid because of Celti from before. I don't know. Again, I'm hoping that we do a callback to another episode where we see them in there again and whatever they were up to. Does the sushi bar around the corner use people on Half Price Day? And that's how they get rid of the people they're experimenting on? It sounds dumb, but we don't hear Simon say much to know how to judge his humor or anything. And in this show, every sentence could be littered with a half-truth that could lead to something bigger. So, I'm actually going to be thinking about that other sushi restaurant. Isaiah knew about it. He used it as a landmark. It could be something, it could be nothing. Just gonna let it swirl around in my brain for a couple episodes. And last thought here. Is Dota-chan talking to himself, or is he supernatural too? At this point, I wouldn't put it past the show to have a character that breaks the fourth wall. I mean, it's also possible he's just weird and self-narrates. Anything could be possible. This is just another thing that's going to swirl around in here until I watch a couple more episodes. Anyway, that's been it for me. Those have been my thoughts on the episode. Once again, if you had any weigh in, don't spoil, but do weigh in if you have any thoughts about stuff that I've said for this episode. Either way, yeah, that's been me, Theta, for Stoneface Reactions. Once again, another episode of Durarara, and again, thank you, Master Detective. Clearly this show required a Master Detective to figure it out, so I can see why you're recommending it. Anyway, I will catch you next time on the next Stoneface Reactions. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?